Welcome into a Week 9 Giants Hangout. Madelyn Burke, Jonathan Casillas, and Brandon London hanging out here as the Giants get ready to take on the Raiders in Las Vegas, 4:25 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a good game. A lot of storylines to follow in this one, guys, especially because both teams struggling offensively. The Raiders have benched Jimmy Garoppolo. They have relieved head coach Josh McDaniels of his duties, and now former Giants linebacker Antonio Pierce is going to be coaching the Raiders on Sunday in Las Vegas when the Giants make their first trip out to Allegiant Stadium. What's the storyline that stands out to you guys right now?
I think AP taking over, Antonio Pierce taking over, and then playing his former team the first week. I think that's something to pay attention to, because as players, right, it looks you can hear the frustration in the Raiders' voices. I watched the game on Monday. They looked like they were out of the game early in the game, and they still were actually in the game. You know, they didn't look like a team that was cohesive and that was together. And then now, you know, that was huge decisions that they made. Head coach, GM, and then your quarterback basically getting benched. That does something for a team. It's either going to go one way or the other. It's either going to revitalize them and cause a spark, or they're going to quit. I don't think it's going to be that one. I don't think it's going to be a quit. I think it's going to be a revitalized type of energy and of, okay, and B, us defensive guys, we don't try to complicate things. We're just going to be simple. You know what he's going to do? He's going to give the ball to Jacobs, and he's going to give Adams his targets. That's exactly what's going to happen this week. So I think the players are going to be happy, and you're going to get a different Raider team this week than I think we've seen in the past.
Yeah, and I think that's going to work for them. I think the Raiders are in a position to where they're just looking at it. We just want to go out and play football. We don't want any of the extra nonsense behind it, but we just want to go out, simplify things because it's football. And when you hear things about Josh Daniels, and you hear like some of the reports about him not getting along with the players, or some of the players thinking that the X's and O's are just too much, trying to complicate things. You wonder if he came in there and he was like, you know, I'm a Belichick disciple. We're smarter than everyone. And the way we do things, the Patriot way, we like to X, Y, Z motion, flip the Devontae Adams is just like, bro, I don't need to do all that. Just give me the ball. Just give me my targets. Get me the rock. Yep. So I think you're going to see something where AP is just going to come in, simplify it, get these guys emotionally invested in not only playing this football game, but back to playing for each other, because they're still in the hunt. So you're going to see that. And when we talk about Antonio Pierce, I was with him my rookie year. 2007 was my rookie year. AP, Michael Strahan, I clung on to. Plaxico I clung on to. Antonio Pierce was another guy. He was drafted in the 8th round, as we undrafted guys say. Yes, and he would always make sure that he'd kick me in the butt if he saw me slacking on special teams. He saw me walking around talking too much trash with Jabril Wilson, like we did all the time, like walking around like thinking my stuff don't stink. Like AP always kind of helped keep me in check, and also got to hang out and party with him sometimes too. So that was fun. But I remember in 2016 when I first got the Giants TV job, Madelyn, our first year, I was at the cigar bar in Hoboken, where a lot of the players had come back for the reunion of the 10-year reunion, 2017. A lot of those guys are there. And that was when he was kind of getting out of the TV aspect of it. And he didn't like the TV aspect of it, because he was telling me, like, you know, sometimes he felt like the producers or people were pushing them too much to just talk about players, you know, the hot topics, hot takes. And he said he wasn't into that. He said he wanted to go back into coaching where he can really make an impact. And that's really what he wanted to do. So when he said that, I was just like, this dude, I'd follow this dude into a brick wall, or I'd follow this guy anywhere, you know. So the fact that he's now getting that shot to be able to kind of show what he can do and how he can galvanize the locker room and become a leader like he is, I think this is great for him. It's kind of bittersweet because he's going up against the Giants, but that's what the football gods do, man. They give you the opportunity when you least expect it. And, you know, it's like good luck to him.
Yeah. And it's going to be an opportunity for him and for this Giants team too. And his first stamp, of course, AP's first stamp is saying, all right, we're going to put Aiden O'Connell in to replace Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. And that's going to be an interesting thing, because as a player, right, as these Giants players look to scout the Raiders and what the Raiders do and what the Raiders are good at, changing a quarterback is a significant move, but changing to a rookie quarterback that you don't have a lot of tape on, also a significant move. Do you go back, you watch the Purdue tape? Do you, how do you prepare for what this team is going to look like, considering how many changes the Raiders have? How does this Giants team prepare for the Raiders? Because this isn't last week's Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, normal, watch your first, second downs, watch your third downs, watch your red zones, but just don't try to buy into like, oh, I figured it out. Because we watch film and it's like, oh, I got a great handle on their run game. They're going to do this on first and second down and third down. Like you have a great idea of what you're going to see when it comes to Sunday. I would say just have an open mind watching film and just know that whoever this quarterback, go ahead.
Are you still watching the same amount of film, considering the coach is different, the quarterback is different? Like, is it the same team? Are you?
No, it's not. But that's what I'm saying. You got to have an open mind, because like, what are you going to do? Go watch the first couple of weeks? You might go back and watch the first couple of weeks, because if they were doing stuff that worked for them early, they're going to go back to that. When AP takes over, he's going to figure out what worked for us this year. What did we do? And 100%, I'm 100% positive in this. He's going to run the football. Take the ball out of the young quarterback's hands, put it into last year, the best running back in the league last year, in Josh Jacobs.
But to go back to Aiden O'Connell getting the start, Jimmy G bench. You also mentioned Mick Lombardi, offensive coordinator, was fired. Bo Hardegree, the quarterback's coach, will be calling the game for the first time. If I'm Wink Martindale, I don't care how predictable they think they're going to be. I'm sitting there with the Birdman hands, sitting there feeling good about it right now, because the only person that can beat you in that offense is Davante Adams. You can run the ball all you want with Josh Jacobs, and I understand he was last year's NFL leading rusher, but that was last year's news. The Giants used to have a problem with stopping the run game, but that was 4 or 5 weeks ago news. You talk about a Giants defense that's been playing lights out. The held Breece Hall in the run game, held Brian Robinson Jr., those guys in the run game. So there's a lot of things the two things that the Raiders offense has for them: a generational talent when it comes to just a guy you could throw the ball up to, and a really good running back. But the Giants are going to be able to neutralize at least one of those. They can control what they neutralize on, and that's stopping the run. Force this dude, Aiden O'Connell, to throw. And you saw what Wink did with Sam Howell. He blitzed the mess that went cover zero on them boys. And you still had Terry McLaurin. You had Johan Dawson and Curtis Samuel on the outside. I just look at it. Maybe you can't go cover zero on this one, JC, because you're going to have to help Tay Banks out with Adams over there, but I think they're going to blitz him, try and move him off his mark, trying to get at him, because he's yet to put anything on tape that can show that he can beat you and Bo Hardegree at the same time. Maybe it's your first time calling a game, but Wink Martindale, he's got a lot of reps, lot of film study reps underneath his belt. I think he finds a way to neutralize that offense. And then now we can talk about the Giants offense. It's going to be on them again, but it's going to be on them to go out and perform.
Well, and you mentioned Davante Adams, though. In the last 4 weeks, he hasn't had a touchdown since week 5. He's averaged 35 receiving yards per game since week 5. And I mean, he was up, almost 100 yards per game, 3 touchdowns in the first 4 games this season. So clearly, that's why a lot of these changes were made.
35, JC. That's very B London-ish. That's very possession Joe Jaravicious B London.
That's Montreal Alouettes legend Brandon London numbers.
I don't know, 35 up there. We was getting 100.
Okay.
Yeah. 100. What Giannis say? 100 piece.
A honey bun.
And AP, the coach.
Yeah.
He's gonna understand, because he's a player, he's also a defensive player. He understands that it's a player-driven league, like you have to get the ball to your best players.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be hard to see what they're going to do,
Nope.
And I don't think not to see what they're going to do, but I think it's going to be hard to actually stop them. Like if you throw the ball to Davante Adams 15 times and he's single covered for half of them, that's a dangerous game. because that dude can get open against anybody.
Anybody.
And
But that's the thing. You can double him. You don't have to blitz this game, JC. Their offensive line is not that strong. You can get after this kid.
But that's what the identity for the Giants have been. And that's the thing. The overall identity for the Giants, for the whole team, that's questionable. But the identity for the defense, I don't think you got to question that. They've been kind of, like you said, when they got clutch against the Commanders, zero blitz, zero. I'm not expecting that to happen, but you got to mix it up. Just like on offense, you got to mix it up. Like, don't zero blitz when they know you're going to zero blitz. Look like you're zero blitz and then double Devontae Adams. Like, don't be predictable, because even a guy like Aiden O'Connell, who has very limited experience, if he sees, okay, they're blitzing me, oh, he's one-on-one. That's not hard to read that at all. But if you throw him a little curveball to where he's like, oh, they're blitzing me, okay, cool. Let me get this ball out. Oh, he's double covered. Now you have a guy that's second guessing stuff, right? Elite quarterbacks have problems with great disguises, So just don't be predictable, offense or defense. But the defense does have an identity. I don't expect them to get away from that.
But sorry, Madelyn. And Bo Hardigree, I see him taking a page out of Eric Bieniemy's book in the second half. They started to roll the pocket, move the pocket against that cover zero to give Sam Howell a little bit of time. That cuts off the backside of the routes, but at the same time, they had some little funky route combinations.
You got a mobile quarterback that can do things with his feet as well.
Yeah. So if you want to protect the young guy, the young rookie, that's the way to do it. But always, if you're going to do that, blitz to the side or try and keep him from rolling to the side where Devontae Adams is, because he's going to roll to that side to keep him within the route concept, keep him in play. You don't want to roll away from him with him on the backside. Then you can't get him the ball on whatever route he runs.
But I think most importantly, like when you look at the Raiders offense and any offense going against the Giants, you have to say, how do we stay away from number 97? That has to be the first question you ask.
And here's another impactful part too, because number 97 has been a game wrecker. Last week he was like PFF player of the week, what have you. But his bestie just got traded to Seattle. That's a big impact right here. Monday, right the day before the trade deadline, Giants traded Leonard Williams to the Seahawks. So 97 at the nose is going to be game record. 99 is not there anymore. How will that affect him? I mean, they talk about this all the time where they have this like unspoken language where they just kind of know where the other one's going to be. And that really helps, and especially the pressures. Without Leonard Williams in this defensive front, they got a lot of talented players, right? We've seen guys like Ashawn Robinson or maybe the rookie Jordan Riley and rotated through there. But who's going to fill that void? How will this Giants defense look without Leonard Williams?
I said it earlier today. If you're still in that locker room for the Giants, you beat the business. Don't let the business beat you. If you were one of the ones who weren't traded away, you beat that side of the business. But don't let the business beat you in terms of you don't play up to your ability because your boy got shipped away, or you let the business of what the Raiders just did, the switch up and coaches and throwing something funky at you and having to match their energy and the motivational speech that AP is gonna give them. Don't let that business side of it beat you. I love Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams did some great things and stuff here, but 97 drives that interior of the defensive line. 97 still going to get double teamed. So Ashawn, Nacho, Jordan Riley, who hadn't played that much but looked good during the preseason and on. I think had the sack against the Cowboys. I'm not 100% sure, but that spot right there, if you're Ashawn, if you're Nacho, if you're Jordan Riley, you're looking at that with a dollar sign. I've got a chance to go in and be a full-time starter at that spot. So I'd go to Dexter, be like, look, man, I ain't got the hair. I ain't from USC or nothing, but I'm about to get active with you because I got a family to feed and all at that same time. So you can mourn Leonard Williams going. All of us, we're happy for him because we got relationships with the players like that. But JC, you get that opportunity, you get that call up, you're not looking back. Kid got to eat. Daycare is expensive these days.
No, but you're right. Look, you can't replace Leonard Williams with one guy. Yeah. I don't think there's another Leonard Williams on this roster, but a collective effort and then also defensive strategy as well. 97 is going to demand a double team. What he's done the last few weeks, if you don't double team, you're foolish. You're foolish. So whoever plays opposite him, they're not going to receive the attention. Even with Leonard being out without Dexter, you're not going to receive the attention because Leonard was so good. So there's opportunity, like you said, to flourish. There's opportunity to kind of backdoor some plays and maybe be forgotten. I mean, if you're in the right spot, the play will land right in your hands. That's what happens when you have somebody playing at a high level like Dexter Lawrence. Kayvon Thibodeau is now attracting a lot of attention now. He had 3 sacks last week. And the Giants right now defensively, I don't see them taking a step back. They just have an opportunity for somebody else to make plays at that position.
But we got another game on Sunday, Giants-Raiders in Las Vegas. It's going to happen, 4:25 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be locked in. We're going to be seeing, hopefully, a positive performance from this. This Giants defense trending up. The Giants offense, this is a possible get-right game for them if they can get it together. Cannot wait. But you know what? Either way, win, lose, or draw, we'll be back here next week with more in the Giants Hangout. Jonathan Casillas, Brandon London, Madelyn Burke, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. We'll see you guys next time.